All right, so we've been talking about defense. We've been talking about Ashton Genty. We've been talking about wide receivers in the first round. But there's been reports now that Trayvon Henderson may be in the first round play because of his speed and all what he can bring to the table. Now, granted, I think that he would still be in the second round, Trayvon Henderson, and we'll look into some film on some defensive players that I kind of like that I know for sure that we can probably take a look at. But that 12th spot is very, very sneaky. But let's listen to this guy right quick.
Henderson, man, he's going early. Like, he might go first round early. Speed, explosiveness, and you want to know what scouts freaking love about this guy? The blocking. And the same thing, I was talking to a director of personnel today, and he was like, the blocking. And I was like, just like Zeke. He's like, exactly. He's like, you know what you're getting. You keep him on the field every single play. He doesn't have to come off the field. You see that speed and the way he cuts. And everyone I talk to, it's the same thing. Going to be a better NFL player than a college player in terms of production and consistency. His best football, he's like kind of getting ready to peak. And teams recognize it. Henderson could be RB2, and there's some buzz. Like, I don't know, he's getting out of round one. TreVeyon Henderson, man, he's going early. Like,
So he believes that he's going early. Let me know how y'all feel. And I get it, man. Ohio State, baby. I like Trey. I like him. I think that he can be a phenomenal running back on the next level. You know, the injuries may play some type of concerns, but if he's going into a system whereas he is not RB1, and even though he could be RB1 and he's RB2, kind of like this, Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, when he first got into the league, he wasn't RB1. He was RB2 behind DeMarco Murray. So sometimes you can take a skill set and slowly integrate them into your system. Now, we are just at that weird spot, but we had a sweet spot in the second round, meaning that teams, shout out to my guy Voch Lombardi, teams suck at drafting, right? So when you look at the complete picture, it could be a situation and it could be a scenario that Trayvon Henderson may fall to the second and we end up not getting that sad running back in the first. And we could go with defense, and we've seen what happened in the Super Bowl. Now, granted, this guy right here, Mason Graham, we like what we see out of his skill set and his tape. He'll be long gone if if people understand what they're seeing out there on the field, right? You know. So all I can say is shout out, kudos, and credence to whoever pick up Mason Graham, and you can see how he's able to shoot hands. He already got a swim move. He got speed to power. He can get off the releases really well, get upfield. He can play the three tech. He can play inside even more as a one. So he can do it all. I like his skill set, right? And we can talk about the Grahams of the world, Kenneth Grant, the other Michigan guy. What happened? Michigan all of a sudden got these boys that's shooting upfield, getting things done. And shout out to him. Here's Grant. And he's able to get upfield. So, Kenneth, I think that, we've been bitten by a lot of poison with Michigan, right? And I think Taco Charlton's, and people can talk about Mozzie to a degree, Luke Schoonmaker. They leave out J. Lou out of all of this. But neither here nor there. When we look at what we absolute need, this guy, of course, he will be there at 12. And it may be too rich for us to get him at 12, right? we might as well slide back a little bit, gain more picks so we can be in the top 100 and still pick him up. Think about this with Eberflus. He likes those bigger boys inside that can get upfield, penetrate, and get to the quarterback. We're not going to be doing a lot of two-gapping, right? Another guy, Omar, I think that he would be pretty good of his ability to scoop and get upfield. Now, where he will be at, mid-first round. A guy that can shoot his hands inside and get upfield and penetrate and got all type of moves for you. And that's what I'm looking for, a person that can occupy 2, still win off of that, and get upfield. Got unbelievable swim moves, bursts, acceleration, plays with a good pad level. I like seeing that, playing like your hair is on fire type of thing. So I like seeing that, Cowboy Nation. And last but not least, out of this list, Darius Alexander. I think when you look at his tape, he's super ultra athletic. He can get upfield. This is a brother that had north of 10 sacks, over 70 pressures. This is somebody that you can probably look at and say, all right, cool. Give me that. Give me someone who's athletic. Give me someone who's agile, who can get upfield, make impactful plays, and be that person. Defense. Now, he may slip in the first round, and what you don't want him to do is end up going to one of those schools, well, not one of those schools, but one of those teams that's in the East, that recently had success and recently got situations and scenarios that they may lose on some of their interior defensive guys, and then they just replenish with this guy, right? And I'm not saying you draft you draft to play keep away, but I think that Darius got a very promising future. He plays with good pad levels. May have to work on his release once he gets off of it. Kind of sometimes get too much in the jam. But I do like the overall skill set of this brother and his tenacity. So when you're looking at all of those things, Cowboy Nation, when it's time to draft, I'm always team BPA. I think that we need to be well diverse in all of our approach as it relates to let's not lock into only one player, right? We need to look at all of the players, not just one. And this is the offseason. I'm still with the belief that the Cowboys should, that's the operative word, and I would do a more in-depth film analysis of those guys. But I think that the Cowboys should not fall in love with one, but look at everything, and I know that that's what they're doing. They will collide their brains and their mindset together. And before they go into this draft, I hope and I pray that the Cowboys dance around in free agency. We will see it a mile away before it occurs, by the way. We will see it a mile away. Law, what do you mean? Because we got to restructure a lot of contracts to get in the green. We're negative $2.9 million, right? We're in the hole right now, but we're not too far down, right? We're not too far down. But we should keep our head on a swivel, and we should be in the good spots of everything. Far as free agency, hear me out, ladies and gentlemen. I think that with free agency game, let me pull up over the cap, because what I want us to do is make sure we got something on our stomach before we go into the draft. I'm going to say this until I'm Cowboys blue in the face. You don't want to shop on an empty stomach. You don't want to go into this draft on an empty stomach. So what I'm going to pull up here is over the cap. Give me 1 second here. Appreciate everybody. Do me a huge favor. Hit that like button. Share this content. Let people know where to go when it's time to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and Beyond. Smash upon the like button. Here we go. All right, so we're looking at this chart line for your mind. All right, so we know when we stroll all the way down, we $2.8 million in the hole. The Falcons, Dolphins, Seattle, Bills, Browns, Saints. Those will be teams that they got to make sure that they trim the fat off of their team. There's going to be somebody that's going to either get cut, released, or however you call it, or be willing to accept some type of shape, form, or fashion, a trade situation, so that they can get out of the red. The Cowboys front office, they got to be ultra aggressive with this, ladies and gentlemen. They got to figure out a way to pick up the phone, comb through all of the players that they like off the Saints, right? And see what type of deal that they can will and deal. Same as with the Browns, the Bills, the Seattle Seahawks, Dolphins, Falcons, right? They're going to release somebody. They're going to try to restructure some contracts too. But they are at a vulnerable situation that the Cowboys must, M-U-S-T, figure it out on this aspect of it. They got to. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, this segue, and this is also brought to you by our sponsors, and I want to be able to let you guys know one way or another that if the Cowboys is ever in a jam, and if anybody is in the city of Dallas, and we know for sure that there's about, according to data, 9,000 people that move to Dallas a month. And sometimes you don't know the terrain, but these fellas know the terrain in the area. And let's listen to them, because whether it's big or small, a fender bender, T-bone, you see, you need to reach out to these guys.
It starts from the first phone call. Most of the time, you're going to talk to Gene Burkett, a 30-year partner. You're not going to talk to some employee that just got put on the phones that day.
There are things that are so crucial, especially if it's a cataclysmic event, to have our experts get out and look at the vehicle, witness statements, photos, the whole thing.
Call Frankel first.
Chosen by the people, feared by the insurance companies. Call Frankel first.
That's 214-817, and all other threes you can dial. Frankel and Frankel Personal Injury Lawyers. Now, if you can't dial that number, visit frankelfirm.com, and they will very much so take good care of you. They won't take advantage of you like those insurance companies. They would take care of you. So in other words, too, with Frankel and Frankel Personal Injury Lawyers, they have over 100 years of combined experiences, and they know the terrain of Dallas, so be sure to check them out. But neither here nor there. Salute to our sponsors. I just want to tell the Cowboys fan base, somehow if enough of this information can get out to the Joneses and let the front office know that these guys are in a weird situation. Saints, Browns, Bills, Seattle, Seahawks, Dolphins, Falcons. Pick up the phone. You got to exercise that. But outside of that, shout out to Kenneth. I keep messing this man's name up. I would like to see him at least being entertained. I know how we feel about Michigan boys, and also Mason Graham. I know how you guys feel about that. If he's there with the 12th pick, of course, you scoop him up. But at the end of the day, if it's not that, figure it out, Cowboy Nation. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's get it. DC for life, not for short. Peace. I'm out.